All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. This was the first of three, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the first of three open meetings we got to have. First of three open meetings in regard to the discussion of the possible millage rate. Pardon? Two or three? Two? Okay. Of the possible millage rate, we're going to be discussing some of the numbers here as we go forward. In the meantime, I'll let, pardon?
This is just to authorize advertisement.
Yeah.
To set a tentative millage rate and authorize advertisement.
That's what that is.
You're not actually setting.
No, it's just tentative setting.
It's 10.
I'm gonna turn it over to you though and let you run the numbers for us.
Right.
Because you've done it all these years.
All these years.
All these years. What you're showing is what we got in the book.
Yes.
Not a whole book.
Yeah, this is just the 5 new streets that will, this is basically what the advertisement will be in the paper. If we stay with what's called the rollback rate, and just look at, I hope y'all can see these numbers. I know there's a lot of them, but what we're looking at right here are the values for 2014, the real and personal property values, and those did decrease slightly, $4,769,000 from the 2013 numbers. The largest decrease that we had is in motor vehicles. It went from 90 million down to 75 million, and basically the reason for that is with that new title ad valorem tax. When anyone buys a new vehicle, or it doesn't have to be new, if someone buys a vehicle, now they pay the title ad valorem, which is paying the ad valorem tax up front, and the value of the vehicle does not go onto the tax digest. So that motor vehicle number is going to continue to decrease as vehicles are replaced. The mobile homes number came down about $100,000, 104, I think. So the decrease in the total digest is $18,298,000. What the Department of Revenue allows the county to do is do a computation of the millage rate rollback. And what that does is if your property values do go down, they allow you to adjust your millage rate so that it's basically the same amount of revenue that you receive. So the millage rate for 2013 was 6.687, and the rollback rate for us for this year is 6.72 mils, and that would generate $9,203,000 in property tax. That is a decrease of $77,000. Do you want to do the one with the millage rate increase?
Well,
The finance, I have that also.
let's go back to the preliminary estimate increases. Now we see that we've lost money, or had with all the cutbacks. Let's look at the preliminary estimate increases for fiscal year 2015 budget. This is not a budget assessment, just what we're looking at coming up. Have you got that on?
I don't have that on this thing, but this is just and it's very preliminary. It's just estimated increases. I got in touch with the larger departments and asked them what they anticipate their budgets being for this year, for 2015. And I knew that the Board of Elections had talked about replacing voting machines. The voting machines we have now are 12 years old, and they really want to replace those before the 2016 presidential election. That's going to be a $96,255 increase. The Sheriff's Department needs the balance of the salary adjustment. They were given a 6-month salary adjustment in the 2014 budget. So the balance of that and some other increase in gasoline and other operating costs They estimate between 250 to 275,000 increase. Fire and emergency services, they are increasing their equipment maintenance budget, gasoline and operating cost budget, and that is going to be an additional 71,500. 911, with salary adjustments and an added communications expense for receivers is 24,000. The county paid portion of health insurance is going up 3%. That's 53,000.
Now,
And
that's for a 15-month period, gets back.
yes, that's to get the extra 3 months, so that our entire fiscal year will be, we know that what the rate's going to be. It's a 3% increase. And then an IT GIS department for the employee and operating budget is 90,000. So it's a total of 609,000 increases that we know about.
That ITGIS, is that what the state's put on our backs to, because we got to come up with it by 2015?
By the 2020 census, we have to have a GIS in place.
Have you got the overall, do we have the overall numbers on I guess I can go back to the front, the total property value decrease, you already got that.
It was slightly over 18 million
Yeah.
total.
All that being said, what is your recommendation?
Well, actually, it's going to be, the budgeting is, hard decisions will have to be made in the budget if we don't do the tax increase. I mean, that's your decision.
I'm sorry. If what you're seeing on the expenses and the cost increase that could possibly be, you think what, $500,000? Is that what you're looking at?
Well,
$500,000 increase?
a $500,000 increase will generate an additional $607,000.
607.
If y'all do decide to increase the millage rate over this rollback rate of 6.72, then there'll have to be 3 public hearings, and it must be advertised as a property tax increase. And let's see, we just ran 2 scenarios on the projected tax increase on a homestead property with a fair market value of $175,000. It's going to be an additional $32.50 on that property. The projected tax increase on a non-homestead property with a fair market value of $125,000 is going to be $25 increase.
And those values were selected because they were the median values on those 2 classes of property in last year's tax digest, which is what
What you're saying, $175,000 house with 8.5 property, that's the average house in Pickens County?
that's the average property value, yes.
Okay.
And then for the non-homestead property, the average was around 125.
Do you think that the state will give us any money back on that TABT? Ain't they supposed to make us right on TABT? That's what they said originally when they passed that.
We're collecting a lot of money on the TABT. You're getting the property back, you're getting your revenue up front. So we're budgeted this year to collect about $800,000 from TABT. And they're supposed to adjust that at some time in the future. I don't know how they can, because you would have to consider the value of those vehicles if they were going on the digest, what you would get for the number of years, like 5 years that they were going to be on there. But the value on that any new purchased vehicle is not going on the digest at all. So this digest amount will eventually go away from motor vehicles if that TABT stays in place. Sharon, have they given you any indication of how, is that averaging out across the state? They were supposed to do some sort of study or something on this.
Yeah, they're still, doing they're checking into it, but it's right now at 6.75%, and next year goes up to 7%, and it should kind of, level off.
When they raise it up, when they raise it up like that, does their percentage of state go up also?
Well, now the state's millage, you're talking about the state's millage?
No, I'm talking on the TABT. You think that's going up from 6 point up to 7 point?
Yeah, it will go up.
So theirs will go up also, so the collection that can get, they're gonna stay the same, or go neutral, or go less. Gary and Becky, y'all got anything? Numbers speak for themselves, buddy.
We have any figures as far as the difference on that? Auto tax we get?
That's that TABT, that's what
I mean, how much difference is it?
Right now, last count I checked, they're right around 20% less than what they were last year. We're taking 20% hit on what the everyone tax was last year, which was, in my opinion, actually good for the individual buying a car, but it takes revenue out of the county budget when you do that.
Well, the county also loses their portion of the sales tax.
Yeah,
Because even on new vehicles, there's no sales tax.
that's
It's
correct.
just the
You
TABT.
lose sales tax on every vehicle that's sold.
That'd be greater than this.
Yeah. For 3 dealerships in the county, yeah.
This figure on fire and EMS here, estimated increases, is that figure with the budget from last year, or what is that?
That's what we're expecting with the budget on from last year.
Would that be included in the storms, or is that separate? That's just in general budget?
Yeah.
71,
Mhm.
okay, yeah.
It's mainly repairs. If I'm not mistaken, Sloan said that when the previous fire chief did the fire budget for this year, he only put in $4,000 for repairs, because I guess we hadn't used very much the previous year, but then they had extensive work that had to be done on 2 of the fire trucks, so he's already had to have a budget in there this year. That's why he's increasing just the general budget to cover that for next year. $40,000 of that is repairs.
The E911, the 24,000 there is we got a receiver project that has been in the works for a couple of years. We've been postponing it. But what it is, we have 3 or 4 dead spots in Pickens County that the sheriff's department or fire and EMS cannot get out on the radios or cell phones for that matter. So that's what that 24 grand on that receiver project was, out there to get communication upgraded in those particular areas.
I thought you said salary.
It's also adjusting the starting salary.
Starting salaries on the
Because the starting
on the
salary
individuals
is
coming in, but
so low, they're training people and then losing them as soon as they're training.
and as most of y'all remember, we combined the fire and EMS to try to pull things together to put more boots on the ground without having to hire any extra people. But we're still, we're like you, we're still losing people to other areas. The ITGIS is what I'm concerned about, the mandate that we have have to do that, and that was $90,000.
So we can have one person handling both of those areas?
What I'd like to do, just instead of just hiring a GIS person that the state's going to require, I'd like to just combine it as a GIS IT, and let that person not only be able to do GIS, but let him do IT issues, and we can drop off, that way we can drop off some of the ETC in the future, not have to, that's what I'm looking, hopefully recouping some of that, some of those funds back.
And GIS is the mapping, am I right?
That's the mapping, that's federal government in their infinite wisdom is going to own everything. We're one of all the other counties in the United States.
It's kind of like an overlay of the
Yeah.
maps too. I think it stands for Geographical Information Systems.
Yes.
And it just mapped, like, you can see where the water lines are, where the road signs are, and that kind of thing. Kind of maps everything in Canada.
What's the figure here for the salaries for this?
For the employee for the GIS
Yeah.
and IT, well, to get somebody that's already qualified to run GIS, you're going to probably pay him, I'm assuming somewhere,
We estimated 60.
yeah, that's what they're estimating, that's about $60,000. And then the IT individual on top of that is another 60. But if you can combine both jobs with one person and get that wedge down there, by the time you buy the hardware and all the programming to go with it, that's what I'm looking at, is combining both of them together.
Do we have anybody in-house that could do the mapping? Anybody that's already in planning and,
No, because right now, what everybody's been using, some of Roy's maps, but even they're not going to even be just what the feds are wanting.
Is that, are we going to use Tri-State? Is that who we decided?
That's one company we're talking to, is Tri-State. And now whether I don't know how deep they're going to go in the GIS scenario. I'm just trying to appease the feds on what they're wanting, not go above and beyond, just, exactly what they want. Board of Elections is $96,255 on the 69 voting machines. They bought all new ones 12 years ago, which the state helped fund them 12 years ago. But now it's left up to the counties or the cities in those municipalities to be able to put in new machines. The old machines, what they're telling me is the fact that the old machines no longer offering a backup or a program to come in. It's like going from Windows XP to Windows 7 type scenario. So
They also had some of these machines go down during the last election.
yeah, so that's right. You used to sit on them. Used to help them. So those are the issues we're looking at. I question the fact that I'd buy a few machines now and a few machines next year, a few machines next year. They can't do it that way. You have to buy all of them at one time because they send the guy here from the state that programs all at one time. They do 2 or 3 different programs. What happens when you have the old machines? You can't get the programs for the old machines. So that's some of the issues we're looking at. But that's a chunk. At $96,000 for a voting machine that's used once every 2 years is a pretty good hit.
what amount of increase did the sheriff's department get last year? Was it 175? Am I remembering that
I
right?
think 186. That was to run 6 months. They did those increases in July.
That could be moved back to 16 and get another voting thing.
I'm just going by what those departments are telling me. That's all I can do is go back and try to run it down from that point. But don't they have election coming up in November? But I think they can use those
Yeah,
machines
they
for that.
got old machines, could never get done then.
So I don't know what
I
the
don't know what the state, if they're mandating anything or not.
I don't know what the turnaround time is on getting these machines, getting them built. And I'm sure there's probably just one company in the world that makes them. So,
Oh, they just had one machine left last election, interesting. One went down. They had 2 or 3, I think, to go down during the election.
And this is just estimates. I mean, we haven't done the budget process yet for the coming year.
So if I'm reading this right, if we have that increase, it would kind of be taken up in all of these increases, kind of be a wash.
But the property value decrease that we're dealing with, and then all this other, that's looking us in the face. And as we get into the budget for the next year,
And this ain't on apartments yet, neither.
this is just more or less, of course, I can't speak for the sheriff or the board of elections, but fire, E911, health and IPGS, that's more or less our areas of expertise. I can't speak for the judicial system, tax commissioner, those other departments that are elected officials, probate, magistrate, judge, all that. I haven't, when are they supposed to have their budgets in, Faye?
The budgets are due in September 5th, and the work sessions are scheduled mid-October.
Let me ask you this question. If $500,000 to cover this right here, nothing from the other budgets are going to bite us in the backside, you think?
No large amounts that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
And I mean, with some of the calculations that I've done already, some of the expenses should go down, and then the capital leases are going to be a little over $100,000 less than last year, because we paid, some of those are paying off. So there will be some reductions, and actually the elections budget should be less in 2015. I'm talking about the operating budget, not this capital expenditure. Should be less in 2015 because they had to budget for elections. I think they budgeted for 5 elections this year. And then in 2015, I don't think there are any. There might be a city election or something. But
Doesn't the cities will reimburse
they'll reimburse us, yes. But then in 2016, they will have to budget for all the presidential preference primary and presidential elections and all that. So their actual operating budget should go down a little bit for next year. But they'll need this capital budget, capital amount for donations, if you'll approve that.
Any other questions or comments?
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still haven't went over these departments and all that, and see if there's something that's changed on that.
I don't know, did y'all look at the things and the goals, and just behind the second tab? Depending on how this year's budget comes out, and I've done some projections, and it looks like we're going to be right on target with revenues and expenditures. I think we'll be under budget with expenditures. If you do the $500,000 increase, it looks like that we will have, with the collections, property tax collections based on what they were in 2013, it looks like we'll have enough operate cash flow to get us into 2015 in much better position, and hopefully, I think we'll be able to reduce the TAN by at least $500,000.
And what's our total on that? We usually get up
To $6 million, and that has to be paid off by the end of December.
on what interest do we pay on that? Do we have a number?
It's 0.96. It's less than 1% this year.
So dollar-wise,
A $500,000 reduction It's,
It wasn't much about.
18,000, I think. But I don't know what sort of interest rate we will get into that. We've got a very good rate this year.
Any other questions? All right. Let's see here.
Yeah, there's not, which one is going to use that over? Yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, we're going to end the work session as of right now.